Chapter 1 Hat. I am 6 years old. I see a nice picture. The picture is in a book. It is a picture of a big snake. The snake eats an animal. Here is the picture. The book says, snakes eat the whole animal. And they sleep for 6 months. I think about the life in the forest. I make my first picture. This is my picture number 1. I show my fantastic picture to one person. And I ask this person, are you scared? This person answers, how can I be scared? It is a hat. My picture is not a picture of a hat. It is a picture of a big snake. An elephant is inside the snake. Then I make my picture number 2. The picture shows the inside of the big snake. Now people understand. This is my picture number 2. People tell me what they think. They tell me that it is not good to make pictures. They tell me that it is better to study geography, history, maths and grammar. After these words, I don't want to make pictures. I don't want to make pictures because my picture number 1 and picture number 2 are not good for the people. People don't understand simple things. And now, I am not a child. I am a big person. I have a job. I am a pilot. I fly planes. I fly in many countries. And it is true that geography is good for me. Geography can help me if I am lost in the night. In my life, I work with people every day. The people are often serious. Sometimes I meet a person who is a little normal. When I meet this person, I show him my picture number 1. I always have this picture with me. I want to know if this person understands life. But the person always says, it is a hat. Then I never speak to this person about big snakes or forests or stars. And we speak about work, sport and family. And the person is happy. For him I am a normal man. I live alone. I don't know people for an open conversation. But one day it all changes. I have an accident in the Sahara Desert. Something is broken in my plane. I have nobody in the plane with me. It is not easy to repair the plane alone. But I must do it. It is a question of life or death. I have water for only a week. Chapter 2 Sheep. The first night, I sleep on the sand. I am 1,000 miles from a land with people. I think that no people are around me. So I am shocked when somebody speaks to me in the morning. I hear these words, please, draw me a sheep. What? Draw me a sheep. I jump up. I look around. And I see a little man. This is the picture of the little man. My picture is not very good. The original model is better. It is not my mistake. I know how to draw only 2 pictures. They are pictures of a snake from the outside and a snake from the inside. I look at this little man. I am really surprised. Don't forget that I am 1,000 miles from a land with people. Something is very interesting. This little man is not tired. He is not hungry. He is not thirsty. He is not scared. He doesn't look lost in the middle of the desert, 1,000 miles from a land with people. The little man says, very slowly, please draw me a sheep. It is all very strange to me. I am 1,000 miles from a land with people. I am in danger of death. But I take a pen and paper from my pocket. I want to draw a picture. Then I remember that I know only geography, history, maths and grammar. And I tell the little man that I don't know how to draw. He says, it is okay. Draw me a sheep. But I don't know how to draw a sheep. So I draw him a picture which I am able to draw. It is a big snake from the outside. And I am shocked when the little man says, no. I don't want an elephant inside a big snake. A big snake is a very dangerous animal. And an elephant is very big for me. Where I live, everything is very small. I need a sheep. Draw me a sheep. So I make this picture. The little man looks at the picture. Then he says, no. This sheep is ill. Make me another sheep. I draw another picture. My friend smiles at me, you must see it too. This is not a sheep. It is a ram. It has horns. So I make another picture, but this picture also isn't good. This sheep is old. I want a sheep which can live a long time. It is not easy for me. I don't have time for this. I must start my work on the plane. So I draw this picture. And I say, this is a box. The sheep is inside. I am surprised when I see the light in his face. This is what I want. Do you think that this sheep needs a lot of grass? Why? Because where I live, everything is very small. I think that there is enough grass for the sheep. This is a very small sheep. The little man looks at the picture. And he says, the sheep is not very small. It is a very nice sheep. This is my first day with the little prince. Chapter 3. Planet. I want to know more about the little prince. I want to know where he lives. The little prince asks me many questions. I also ask him questions. But he doesn't answer my questions. But when he speaks, I slowly start to understand many things. For example, when he looks at my plane, he asks, what is this thing? I answer, it is a plane. It can fly. It is my plane. And I am happy when I tell him that I can fly. Then he says, what? Are you from the sky? Yes, I say. It is funny. And the little prince starts to laugh. I am angry. My situation is not good. How can somebody think that it is funny? Then he says, so you also come from the sky like me. What is your planet? At this moment I start to understand more about him. I ask, do you come from another planet? But he doesn't answer. He looks at my plane again. Then he says, on this thing, you can't come from very far. And he starts to think. Then he takes the picture with his sheep. And he looks at his sheep. But I want to know more. So I ask again. Where is your planet? Where do you want to take your sheep? He is quiet. Then he says, the box is a good thing. At night, I can use the box as a house for the sheep. Yes? And I can also give you a rope. Then you can tie the sheep during the day. But the little prince is shocked when I say this, tie the sheep. It is a funny idea. But if you don't tie the sheep can run away. You can lose the sheep. The little prince starts to laugh again. But where can the sheep go? It can go to many places. It can go left. It can go right. The little prince says, the sheep can go away on my planet. It is okay. Where I live, everything is so small. He is a little sad. Then he says, where I live, nobody can go very far. Now I know a second important thing. The planet of the little prince is very small. It is like a house. But it isn't really a big surprise. I know that we don't have only big planets like Earth, Mars or Jupiter. We have also hundreds of other planets. These planets are sometimes very small. If you want to see these planets, you need a very good telescope. When an astronomer discovers such a planet, he doesn't give the planet a name. He gives the planet only a number. The name of the planet is, for example, Asteroid 3251. Chapter 4, Asteroid. I think that the planet of the little prince is asteroid B612. In 1909, one astronomer discovers this asteroid. The astronomer is from Turkey. He speaks about his asteroid at a big conference. But nobody believes him because he has Turkish clothes. It is crazy, but people do these things. But there is something good for asteroid B612. A Turkish leader says that people in Turkey must have clothes like Europeans. The astronomer speaks about his asteroid again in 1920. He has very nice clothes. And now everybody believes him. I speak about asteroid B612 and I speak about its number because people like numbers. When you tell people that you have a new friend, they never ask you questions about important things. They never ask you, is his voice nice? What games does he play? Does he have butterflies at home? They ask, how old is he? How many brothers does he have? How big is he? How much money does his father have? If they know these numbers, they think that they know this person. If you say to the people, I know a small red house. It has beautiful flowers in the windows. A lot of birds fly around the house, the people can't imagine the house. You must say to the people, I know a big house. It is very expensive. You can buy this house for $100,000. Then the people say, it is a nice house. If you say to the people, the little prince exists because he laughs and he wants a sheep, this information is not enough for the adults. They don't believe you. They think that you live in a dream. But if you tell them, the planet of the little prince is asteroid B612, they believe you. This is how the people think. If you understand life, you don't need numbers. You need to hear a nice story. You like to hear, the little prince lives on a small planet. The planet is very small. The little prince is alone. He wants to have a friend. If you understand life, this is what you want to hear. Chapter 5, Elephants. It is 6 years after my meeting with the little prince. When I think about him, I am sad. But I write about the little prince, because I don't want to forget him. It is sad when you forget a friend. Not everybody has a friend. This is the reason why I have paper and colors in my hands now. It is difficult to draw for me when I am old. But I want to do it. I want to make my pictures very good. But I am not sure if I can do it. One picture is okay, but another picture is not very good. I make some mistakes in the size too. Here the little prince is very big. Here he is very small. Maybe the color of his clothes is not correct. But I try to draw as well as possible. But sometimes when my picture is not perfect, it is not my mistake. It is the little prince's mistake. He never explains things to me. Maybe he thinks that I am like him. But unfortunately, I don't see the sheep in the box. Every day, new information about the little prince's planet comes. I also know more and more about his journey to the Earth. The information comes very slowly. The information comes during moments when the little prince thinks about his past. For example, on the third day, the little prince speaks about a problem with the baobabs. Baobabs are big trees. The conversation about baobabs starts when the little prince asks me a question about the sheep. Is it true that sheep eat little trees? Yes. It is true. It is good. I don't understand why it is so important that sheep eat little trees. But the little prince says, so they also eat baobabs? I tell the little prince that baobabs aren't little trees, the baobabs are big trees. The baobabs are very big. They are like houses. And, for example, if you put 9 big elephants on your planet, these elephants can't eat one baobab. The baobabs are so big. The idea of 9 elephants is funny for the little prince. And he laughs. On my planet, elephants must stand on elephants. But then he says something clever. When the baobabs are young, they are very small. It is true, I say. But why is it important that your sheep eats the little baobabs? He says, it is simple. Think about it. It is not very difficult. So I start to think about the problems with baobabs. Soon, I have the answer. Chapter 6, Trees. I think that on the little prince's planet, there are good plants and bad plants. It is normal for all planets. And of course, there are also good seeds of good plants. And bad seeds of bad plants. But we can't see seeds. They are in the ground. But one day, every seed wakes up. Then the seed starts to grow. The seed grows slowly to the sun. When the plant is very small, you don't know if the plant is some vegetable or a rose. And you can let the plant grow. But when you see that it is a bad plant, it is important to destroy the plant fast. It is true that there are bad seeds on the planet of the little prince. They are the seeds of baobabs. The ground of the planet is full of them. If you see a baobab too late, you can't destroy it. Then the baobab grows over the whole planet. And if the planet is too small, 2 or 3 baobabs can destroy the planet. It is a question of discipline, the little prince tells me. When I wash my face in the morning, and when I put on my clothes, then it is time to clean my planet. It is necessary to pull the baobabs when I see them. Sometimes it isn't easy because they are similar to roses when they are very young. It is a very boring job, but very easy. And one day he says to me, "You can draw a beautiful picture. The picture can show this situation to children. This information can help children when they travel around the universe." In life, it is sometimes okay to do your work later. But when you do your work with baobabs later, it is always a big problem. I know a planet with a lazy man. Now he has a big problem. He has 3 big baobabs on his planet. He is not happy. And, when the little prince speaks about the planet, I make a picture of this planet. People know only a little about the problem with baobabs. And it is possible that one day when you are lost on an asteroid, you can have this problem too. I believe that it is important to know that baobabs can be very dangerous for a small planet. I work so hard on this picture because I want to tell children about the problem which they don't know. I also make the picture very big. It is big because the problem with baobabs can be very big. Chapter 7, Sun. Step by step, I start to understand the secrets of the little prince's life. For a long time his only fun is to watch beautiful sunsets. This information comes on the 4th day in the morning. The little prince says, "I really like sunsets. Let's look at a sunset now." "But we must wait," I say. "Wait? Wait for what?" "Wait for the moment when the sun is down." The little prince is very surprised. Then he laughs. And he says, "I am always thinking that I am at home." Everybody knows this. When it is noon in the United States, the sun is going down in France. If you can fly to France in 1 minute, you can watch the sunset. But the little prince's planet is very small. You only need to pull your chair 4 or 5 meters. And you can watch the sunset when you want. The little prince tells me about a day with 43 sunsets. He says, when you are very sad, sunsets are great. The day with 43 sunsets must be a sad day. Is it true? I ask. But the little prince doesn't answer. On the 5th day, new information about the little prince's life comes. He asks me, if a sheep eats little trees, does it eat flowers, too? A sheep eats everything what is green, I answer. Does a sheep eat flowers with thorns too? Yes. The sheep eats flowers with thorns too. I don't understand, says the little prince. Why does the flower have thorns if a sheep can eat the flower? I don't know. At that moment I am very busy. I need to repair my plane. I am scared because my situation starts to be very serious. I have so little water. I think that my death is close. Why does the flower have thorns? The little prince always wants an answer to his question. But at that moment I am angry because I can't repair my plane. I answer without thinking. Thorns are good for nothing. Flowers have thorns because they want to hurt others. Oh? The little prince is thinking for a moment. I see that he is a little angry. Then he says, I don't believe you. Flowers are weak. The thorns give them power. Flowers believe that their thorns are big weapons. I say nothing. I am very busy with my plane. Chapter 8, Flowers. I am still repairing my plane when the little prince says, "Do you really believe that flowers have thorns because they want to hurt others?" No, I don't believe it. But I don't want to think about it. I am busy with my plane. It is a serious thing. He is shocked. Serious thing? He looks at me. My hands are touching the engine. The engine is dirty. My hands are dirty too. The little prince doesn't like the engine. But the engine is important for me. You talk like the adults. The little prince is not happy. I know that it is my mistake. I don't feel okay. But the little prince continues, "You mix everything together." The little prince is angry. I know a planet with a gentleman with a red face. He doesn't have a flower. He doesn't look at stars. He doesn't love other people. He only counts numbers. And all day he repeats again and again, like you. I am a serious man. I am a serious man. And he is very proud. But he is not a man, he is a mushroom. He is a what? A mushroom. The little prince is now very angry. His face is white. Flowers have thorns. Sheep eat flowers. And you think that it is not good to try to understand why flowers have thorns. There is a war between the sheep and the flowers. And you think that it is not important? The little prince is still very angry. He continues. You think that the war between the sheep and the flowers is not more important than the numbers of the gentleman with a red face. I know a flower which is the only flower in the world, which exists only on my planet. It is a flower which a little sheep can eat for breakfast. And you think that this is not important? His face is now red. He continues. If you love a flower which is in the sky, then you are happy when you look at the stars. You are happy because you know that your flower is, he says, up there. But if the sheep eats the flower, then the sky is very sad for you. He can't say another word. He starts to cry. The night comes. I put my tools on the ground. How important are my tools, my engine, my death now? On one planet, on my planet, the Earth, there is a little prince who needs me. I take him in my arms. I hold him. I say to him, the flower which you love is not in danger. I can draw you something which can protect your flower. I can draw you a fence. You can put the fence around your flower. I can. I don't know what to say to him. I don't feel comfortable. I don't know how to talk to him, how to be his friend again. It is so strange when somebody cries. Chapter 9, Glass. I soon have more information about the flower. On the little prince's planet the flowers are always very simple. They are small and they don't talk. They grow in the grass in the morning. And they are gone in the evening. But it all changes one day. There is a different seed. It comes from some place which nobody knows. Soon a new flower starts to grow. First she is very small. The little prince watches her very carefully. The flower isn't like other flowers on his planet. The flower can be a new type of baobab. But she is not a bear bug. She is really a flower. Soon she starts to prepare for opening. The preparation for this moment is long. The flower doesn't want to show her colors fast. Then one morning, exactly at sunrise, the flower shows her colors. And after all her preparation for this moment, she says, "Ah, I am sorry. Give me some time. I need some time to be perfect." But the little prince can't hide his feelings. "Oh, how beautiful you are." "Yes, I am beautiful. Look at me," the flower says. "And I am born at the same moment as the sun. I think that it is time for breakfast," she says. "Can you bring me some water?" The little prince is surprised. The situation is new for him. But he brings water to the flower. The flower starts to play with the little prince. Her play isn't always nice. One day, for example, when she speaks about her 4 thorns, she says to the little prince, "I am ready for tigers. They can come." "There are no tigers on my planet," says the little prince. "And tigers don't eat grass." "I am not a grass," the flower says. "I am not scared of tigers, but I am scared of wind. Do you have something which can protect me from wind?" "It is not good when a flower is scared of wind," says the little prince, and he thinks, this flower is very complicated. "At night I want to be under glass. It is very cold here where you live. The cold is not comfortable. I come from a place where—" But she stops at this moment. Flowers grow from seeds. They don't know about other worlds. The flower feels stupid now. She knows that the little prince sees that she can lie to him. She quickly coughs 2 or 3 times. She wants to show the little prince that she is cold, and that he doesn't care about her well. "The glass? I can look for the glass, but you still talk to me," says the little prince. Then the flower starts to cough a little more. She wants to show him how bad he is. The little prince has a lot of love in his heart. But he can't believe the flower. For the little prince, it is important how somebody speaks to him. And the flower doesn't speak to him well. Chapter 10. Volcanoes. "It isn't good to listen to the flower," the little prince tells me one day. "Never listen to flowers. You have to only look at them and smell them. My flower makes my planet beautiful. She smells so good. But I don't know how to like her. The story about the tigers makes me so angry. But it isn't good to take it so seriously. It is good to love the flower, because she is so beautiful and she smells so good." He then continues, "When we are young, we don't know many things. The flower makes my planet beautiful. It isn't correct to leave her. Now I know it. I believe that when the little prince leaves his planet, wild birds help him. On the morning of his departure, he prepares everything. He cleans his active volcanoes. There are 2 active volcanoes on his planet. They are very good when he needs to cook his breakfast in the morning. He also has 1 volcano which isn't active. But, he says, you never know. So he cleans this volcano too. If the volcanoes are correctly cleaned, there are no eruptions. Of course, on Earth people are very small. They can't clean volcanoes. And because people don't clean them, the volcanoes can be a big problem. Before his departure, the little prince also calls the last little bear Babs. He thinks that this is his last day on his planet. He doesn't plan to come back. He gives water to his flower. Then he brings the glass. At that moment, he wants to cry. "Goodbye," he says to the flower. But she doesn't answer him. "Goodbye," he says again. The flower coughs. But it is not because she is ill. "I am sometimes stupid," the flower says. "I am sorry." The little prince is surprised that the flower is sorry. He doesn't understand why the flower is nice to him. "Of course, I love you," the flower tells him. "Maybe you don't feel that I love you. It is not your mistake. It is my mistake. It is not important now. But you are sometimes stupid too. Try to be happy. Don't put the glass on me. I don't need it. But the wind. The wind is not a problem. The night air is good for me. I am a flower. But the animals. I have to be stronger than 2 or 3 caterpillars if I want to see the butterflies. I think that they are very beautiful. If there are no butterflies here, who can visit me when you are so far? And I am not scared of big animals. I have my thorns." And she shows all of her 4 thorns to the little prince. Then she says, "Don't stand here. You want to leave. So, go." She says it because she doesn't want to show her tears. She is a very proud flower. Chapter 11. King. The little prince was close to the asteroids 325, 326, 327, 328, 329, and 330. So he began by visiting them. He wanted to stay busy and learn something. The first one was inhabited by a king. The king was wearing royal clothes. He was sitting on a simple but majestic throne. "Ah, here is a visitor," the king said when he saw the little prince. And the little prince asked himself, "How can he know who I am? He's never seen me before. Come closer to me. I want to see you better," said the king. He was very proud to be a king for someone at last. The little prince looked around for a place to sit down, but the planet was covered by the magnificent clothes of the king. So he remained standing. And because he was tired, he yawned. It's a violation of etiquette to yawn in the presence of a king, the king told him. "I forbid you to do so." "I can't help it," replied the little prince, quite embarrassed. "I've made a long journey, and I haven't had any sleep." "Then I order you to yawn," said the king. "I haven't seen anyone yawn for years. For me, yawns are a curiosity. Come on. Yawn again. It's an order." "That scares me." "I can't do it now," said the little prince, turning red. "Oh, well," the king replied, "then I order you to yawn sometimes and then to." He was confused a little and he looked annoyed because the king always insisted that his orders would be respected. He wouldn't tolerate if somebody didn't follow his orders. But, because he was a very good man, all his orders were reasonable. If I ordered a general. He liked to give this example: if I ordered a general to change into a seabird, and if the general didn't do it, it wouldn't be the general's fault. It would be my fault. May I sit down? The little prince asked quietly. I'll order you to sit down, the king replied. And he pulled a piece of his clothes so that there was some space for the little prince to sit down. But the little prince was thinking about one thing. The planet was very small. The king didn't control a big area. Sir, said the little prince, can I ask you a question? I'll order you to ask me a question, the king said. Sir, what do you control? I control everything, said the king. Everything? The king pointed to his planet, then to the other planets. And all the stars. Are you the king of all that? Asked the little prince. I am the king of all, replied the king. He didn't control only his planet. He was the king of all the universe. And do the stars do what you want? Of course, said the king. They do it immediately. They do what I want them to do. Chapter 12. Mouse. It was very interesting for the little prince. Such power impressed the little prince. If he had such power, he would have been able to watch the sunset, not 44 times, but 72, or even 100, or even 200 times on the same day, without ever having to move his chair. At that moment he remembered his little planet which he left. And he felt a little sad. That's why he took his courage and asked the king for a favor. I'd like to see a sunset. Do me a favor, please. Order the sun to set. When the little prince asked for a sunset, the king replied, if I ordered a general to fly from one flower to another like a butterfly, or to write a tragedy, or to change into a seabird, and if the general didn't do it, whose fault would it be? The general's or mine? Your fault, said the little prince quite firmly. Exactly, we must ask from others what others can do, the king continued. The control is first based on reason. If you order your people to jump into the sea, they will start a revolution. I have the right to control because my orders are reasonable. And my sunset? Reminded the little prince, who never forgot a question once he asked it. You will have your sunset. I will order it. But according to my rules, I will wait until the conditions are right. When will it be? Asked the little prince. Well, replied the king. And before saying anything he took a large calendar. Well, it will be this evening at about 20 minutes to 8. And you'll see that everything happens as I order. The little prince yawned. He was sad that the conditions weren't right for his sunset. Then he started to be a little bored. I have nothing more to do here, he said to the king. I'm gonna continue on my journey. Don't leave, said the king. I'll make you my minister. Minister of what? Minister of justice. But there is no one here to judge. You never know, said the king. I haven't explored the whole kingdom yet. I am very old. I am soon tired when I walk. Oh, but I have already seen your kingdom, said the little prince. He looked once more around the whole planet. There's nobody else on the planet. Then you will judge yourself, replied the king. That's the most difficult. It's much more difficult to judge yourself than to judge others. If you manage to judge yourself well, it's because you are really a wise man. But I can judge myself anywhere, said the little prince. I don't need to live here. Well, said the king. I believe that somewhere on my planet there is an old mouse. I hear him at night. You can judge that old mouse. You can send him to prison from time to time. And his life will depend on your justice. But you will let him go from prison after some time. Because he is the only one we have. I don't like to send anyone to prison. And now I think I am going. No, said the king. But the little prince had already completed his preparations. He didn't want to make the old king sad. So he said, if you wish to control others, you should give me a reasonable order. For example, you could order me to be gone by the end of this minute. It seems to me that the conditions are right. The king didn't reply and the little prince hesitated at first. Then, with a sigh, he started to leave. I make you my ambassador. The king quickly shouted after him. His control was really great. Adults are very strange, the little prince said to himself as he continued on his journey. Chapter 13. People. The second planet was inhabited by another strange man. He liked when people admired him. Ah! A visit from somebody who admires me, said the man when he saw the little prince. In his world, all the other people admired him. Good morning, said the little prince. You have a funny hat. It's a hat to greet people who come to visit me and admire me. Really? Said the little prince, who didn't understand what the man was talking about. Clap your hands, ordered the man. The little prince clapped his hands. And the man moved his hat with a gentle touch to greet the little prince. This is more fun than the visit to the king, the little prince said to himself. And he continued clapping. The man continued touching his hat. After 5 minutes of this exercise, the little prince started to be tired of this game. What would make the hat go down? He asked. But the man didn't hear him. He heard only when somebody admired him. Do you really admire me very much? He asked the little prince. What does it mean, admire? To admire means to acknowledge that I am the most handsome, the best dressed, the richest and the most intelligent man on the planet. But you are the only man on your planet. Do me this favor. Admire me even if I'm the only man on this planet. I admire you, said the little prince, moving his shoulders up and down a little, but I don't understand why my admiration is so interesting to you. The little prince had nothing to do on this planet anymore and he went away. Adults are certainly very strange, he told himself, as he continued on his journey. The next planet was inhabited by a man who drank a lot. This was a very short visit, but it put the little prince into a deep depression. What are you doing? He asked the drunk man, who was sitting in silence before a collection of empty bottles and also a collection of full bottles. I'm drinking, replied the drunk man, with an unhappy expression on his face. Why are you drinking? The little prince asked. To forget, replied the drunk man. To forget what? Asked the little prince, who was already feeling sorry for him. To forget that I am ashamed, said the drunk man, putting his head down. Ashamed of what? Asked the little prince, who wanted to help him. Ashamed of drinking, said the drunk man, who then stopped talking, and it looked like he didn't want to say another word. And the little prince left, confused. The adults are certainly very, very strange, he told himself as he continued on his journey. Chapter 14. Businessman. The fourth planet belonged to a businessman. This man was so busy that he didn't even raise his head when the little prince arrived. "Good morning," said the little prince. "Your cigarette is finished. 3 and 2 make 5. 5 and 7 make 12. 12 and 3 make 15. Hello. 15 and 7 make 22. 22 and 6 make 28. I have no time to light it again. 26 and 5 make 31. Wow. It's 501,622,731. 500 million what? Asked the little prince. Eh? Are you still there? 501 million. I don't remember. I have so much work to do. I am a serious man. I don't want to waste my time with unimportant things. 2 and 5 make 7. 500 million what? Repeated the little prince, who never in his life let go a question once he asked it. The businessman raised his head. For the 54 years I have lived on this planet, I have been disturbed only 3 times. The first time it was 22 years ago, by a bird that fell onto my desk from God knows where. He made a terrible noise, and I made 4 mistakes in my calculation. The second time, 11 years ago, I was disturbed by rheumatism. I don't get enough exercise. I have no time for such unproductive activity. I'm a serious man. The third time is right now. Where was I? 501 million. Million what? The businessman realized that if he wanted to be left in peace, he had to answer this question. Millions of those little things that you sometimes see in the sky. Flies? No, the little things that shine. Bees? Oh, no. The little golden things that make the lazy people dream. But I am a serious man. I have no time to dream. Ah. You mean the stars? Yes, the stars. And what do you do with 500 million stars? 501,622,731. I am a serious person. I am accurate. And what do you do with those stars? What do I do with them? Yes? Nothing. I own them. You own the stars? Yes. But I've already seen a king who. Kings don't own. They control. It's very different. And what is owning the stars good for? It's making me rich. And why is it good to be rich? It makes it possible for me to buy more stars, if somebody discovers them. How can someone own the stars? Who do they belong to? Asked the businessman, who was by now quite irritated. I don't know. To nobody. Then they belong to me because I was the first person to think of it. That's enough? Of course. When you find a diamond that belongs to nobody, it's yours. When you find an island that belongs to nobody, it's yours. When you have an idea before anyone else, you patent it and it's yours. Now I own the stars, because no one before me ever thought of owning them. That's true, said the little prince. And what do you do with them? I manage them. I count them and recount them, said the businessman. It's difficult. But I'm a serious man. The little prince was still not satisfied. If I own a scarf, I can put it around my neck and take it with me. If I own a flower, I can pick it and take it with me. But you can't pick the stars. No, but I can put them in the bank. What does that mean? That means that I write the number of my stars on a little paper. And then I lock that paper in a drawer. And that's all? That's enough, said the businessman. It's entertaining, thought the little prince. But it's not very serious. The little prince had very different ideas about what serious things are. I own a flower, he continued. I water her every day. I own 3 volcanoes that I clean out every week. I even clean out the extinct one. You never know. It's useful to my volcanoes, and it's useful to my flower that I own them. But you're not useful to the stars. The businessman opened his mouth but couldn't find anything to say. And the little prince left. The adults are certainly very interesting, he said to himself as he continued on his journey. Chapter 15. Lamp. The 5th planet was very strange. It was the smallest of all. There was just enough room for a street lamp and a lamplighter. The little prince couldn't understand the reason for a street lamp and a lamplighter on a planet under so many stars which had no people. There wasn't even one house. However, he said to himself, it's quite possible that this man is strange, but his work has some meaning. When he lights his lamp, it's as if he's bringing one more star to life, or one more flower. When he puts out his lamp, he sends the flower, or the star to sleep. It's a beautiful job. And because it's beautiful, it's really useful. When the little prince arrived on the planet, he greeted the lamplighter respectfully. Good morning. Why did you just put out your lamp? That's an order, replied the lamplighter. Good morning. What's the order? The order is to put out my street lamp. Good evening. And he lit his lamp again. But why have you just lit your lamp again? That's the order, replied the lamplighter. I don't understand, said the little prince. There's nothing to understand, said the lamplighter. The order is the order. Good morning. And he put out his lamp. Then he wiped his forehead. It's a terrible job I have. It used to be reasonable in the past. The planet used to turn much slower. I put the lamp out in the morning and in the evening I lit it again. I had the rest of the day for myself, and the rest of the night for sleeping. And since that time the order has changed? The order hasn't changed, said the lamplighter. That's the problem. Year by year the planet is turning faster and faster, and the order hasn't changed. Which means? Asked the little prince. Which means that now the planet makes a complete turn every minute and I have no time to rest. I light my lamp and put it out once every minute. That's funny. Your days last only 1 minute. It's not funny at all, said the lamplighter. You and I have already been talking to each other for a month. A month? Yes. 30 minutes. 30 days. Good evening. And he lit his lamp again. The little prince watched the lamplighter and, more, he liked this man who was so faithful to his order. He remembered the days when he saw many sunsets just by pulling his chair. He wanted to help his new friend. You know, I can show you a way to stop your work whenever you want to. I always want to stop my work, said the lamplighter. The little prince continued, your planet is so small that you can walk around it in 3 long steps. All you have to do is walk more slowly and you'll always be in the sun. When you don't want to work, just walk and the day will last as long as you want it to. How could that help me? Said the lamplighter. The one thing that I love in life is to sleep. Then you're unlucky, said the little prince. I am, said the lamplighter. Good morning. And he put out his lamp. The little prince said to himself, as he continued on his journey, the other men, the king, the drunk man, the businessman would laugh at this lamplighter. However, he's the only one that doesn't seem ridiculous to me. Maybe it's because he cares about something else, not just himself. That man is the only one of them who could be my friend. But his planet is really too small. There is no room for 2 people. What the little prince didn't want to admit was that he regretted leaving that planet for one even more important reason. He didn't want to leave because the planet was blessed with 1,440 sunsets every 24 hours.